It's the 11th of November 2024. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news this evening for the Newsfirst team, I am Ranen Ramanayake.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst Headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
World leaders gather in Azerbaijan as UN climate talks kick off at COP29. All set for 2024 general election.
මේ නිහඬ කාලය තුළ මේ පැය 40 තුළ ඡන්දදායකයන්ට තමන්ට නිදහසේ තමන්ගේ මතය පිළිබඳව ආවර්ජනය කරගෙන ඒ සඳහා අදහස් උන්ට නිදහසේ භුක්ති විඳින අවස්ථාව ලැබෙන කරුණාවෙන් ක්‍රියාකාරීලා සිටිනවා.
Nation's transformation must not be undermined by opposition, says President. President is dancing to the IMF's tunes, claims Sujeev.
IMF එක කියන පදයට නටන රූකඩ ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් බවට පත්.
Namal plans internal transformation for SLPP post-election. Former Minister Harin obstructs police and election officials in Badulla. CID searches Sujeev's residence after discovery of illegally assembled vehicle.
Newsfirst Headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
In our top story for tonight, the United Nations Annual Climate Summit is currently underway in Baku, Azerbaijan, where thousands of global representatives have gathered for crucial negotiations on tackling the climate crisis. We now cross over to Newsfirst's Tharushi Madhavela along with cameraman Disnaka Nanjana for the latest updates from COP29.
Climate change is not a problem of the future. This is not something we can circle back later on. We as Newsfirst have continuously reported about the extreme weather conditions the world has and is experiencing today. From the first COP that started in Berlin, Germany in 1995 to the Paris Agreement signed by the countries at the COP29 conference in 2016. And until today, we have been talking about how to control global temperature rise for many years.
Azerbaijan is hosting and presiding over the 29th Conference of the Parties this year. The event is taking place over the next 2 weeks at the Baku Olympic Stadium in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. COP29 is considered the foremost global platform where international representatives convene to address the climate crisis, aiming to mitigate the increasingly severe impacts of climate change that are affecting the world. This year, the conference has garnered unprecedented participation with over 40,000 delegates, including heads of state, government officials, business leaders and media representatives coming together from nearly every corner of the globe. The UN Climate Change Executive Secretary had this to say at the COP29 opening.
Do you want your grocery and energy bills to go up even more? Do you want your country to become economically uncompetitive? Do you really want even further global instability, costing precious life? This crisis is affecting every single individual in the world, one way or another. And I am as frustrated as anyone that one single COP can't deliver the full transformation that every nation needs. But if any of your answers to those questions was no, then it is here that parties need to agree a way out of this mess. That's why we're here in Baku. We must agree a new global climate finance goal. If at least 2/3 of the world's nations cannot afford to cut emissions quickly, then every nation pays a brutal price. If nations can't build resilience into supply chains, the entire global economy will be brought to its knees. No country is immune. So let's dispense with the idea that climate finance is charity. An ambitious new climate finance goal is entirely in the self-interest of every single nation, including the largest and the wealthiest. As a Secretariat, we'll continue to work tirelessly with what we have got. while being clear on what funding we need so we can deliver on what's increasingly being asked of us.
COP29 has been labelled the quote-unquote finance COP because it seeks to increase funding to support lower-income countries in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Alongside climate finance, COP29's key topics to be discussed include the carbon market, transparency, climate change mitigation and adaptation, and the energy transition. COP29 will take place in Azerbaijan between the 11th and 22nd November.
The summit will mainly focus on how the most affected nations like Maldives and developing countries like Sri Lanka can get the financial strength they need to withstand the climate change. And for the next 2 weeks, we are ready to bring you the updates of COP29. With this Sakanayanjana, I am Tharushi Madhavala reporting to you from Baku, Azerbaijan.
Sri Lanka decides.
The silent period for the 2024 general election will begin at midnight tonight. Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sriratnayaka said that the silent period will remain in effect until November 14th.
Starting from midnight tonight, all election campaign activities will be prohibited until the election day. From midnight tomorrow, all campaign offices at the electoral level will also be closed. I trust that all candidates, political parties and their supporters will adhere strictly to the legal framework during this period. Your cooperation is essential in maintaining the integrity of the electoral process and ensuring a free and fair election. During this silent period, during these 48 hours, I urge everyone on social media platforms to ensure that voters have the opportunity to reflect on their choices independently, without any undue influence. This is an important time for voters to form their own opinions and freely exercise their democratic rights.
The Commissioner General also confirmed that candidates may continue to operate campaign officers at their residences during this time. What is the current status of election preparations?
At this stage, all initial preparations for the election have been completed. The Election Commission, along with the district returning officers and the district assistant election commissioners, have finalized their respective duties. The legal provisions of the election will come into effect as of today. Arrangements for official travelling from remote areas have been finalized, with logistical preparations for transportation and other necessary resources are now in progress. I request that the Grama Nildari officers ensure that all senior and other polling station staff arriving at their respective election centres on the 13th of November are provided with the necessary facilities and support to carry out their duties efficiently.
Is there a change in the finger that will be marked?
As you are aware, during the previous presidential election, voters marked their little index finger with ink. Many still have that mark from the election. For the general election, the Election Commission has decided that voters will mark their left index finger instead. Therefore, when you go to the polling station, please present your left index finger for the ink mark. The ink mark will be applied to your left index finger in accordance with the decision made by the Election Commission.
The total of candidates contesting the general election is 8,352. Of these, 5,006 candidates are representing political parties. There are 3,346 independent candidates.
President Andrakumara, leader of the National People's Power, asserted that the country's transformation cannot be undermined by the desires of political opponents and must instead be driven by development. He expressed these views during his address at a public rally held in Gampaha.
This public rally was organized in support of the Gampaha district candidates contesting the general election.
Let's send the best group of people to the Sri Lankan Parliament on the 14th, so that you, I and the future generations can experience the true meaning of a supreme parliament. We need a strong representation with such a mandate. You will be able to support the president in a meaningful way. It's certain that the entire nation will stand behind us to pass strong, impactful laws.
ඒ ශක්තිය අපි ලබා දෙමු මුළු ලංකාවෙම ලැබෙන බව නියතයි ලස්සන ජීවිතයක් ඔබට වගේම ඇස් නොපෙනෙන කන් නැසෙන චලන
Don't nearly 1.7 million people who suffer from hearing and visual impairments deserve the chance to live a beautiful life just like you? We need 100% commitment to this. We are people just like you. On the 14th of November, these people will come to the polls alongside you.
ඔබත් එක්ක උරනුර ගැටි නොවැම්බර් 14 වෙනිදා ඡන්ද පොලට එනවා මේ මැතිවරණය නිකම්ම
This election is not just another general election that comes every 4 to 5 years. This election comes at a pivotal moment where the people have built true power, electing a president through their will, dissolving a corrupt parliament and ousting the corrupt elite to create a clean parliament.
කරගෙන තමයි මේ මහ මැතිවරණට එන්නේ ගම්පා දිස්ත්‍රික්කයෙන් മന്ത്രിවරු 19
Let's send the largest number of MPs from the National People's Power to the parliament from the 19 MPs of the Gampa district. On the 14th, let's say goodbye to old politics and embrace a new politics for a transformative era by making the Malimawa win.
මාලිමාව ඉහළින්ම ජයග්‍රහණය කරමු ලබන 14 වෙනිදා වෙනකොට මුළු ගම්පහම එකතු වෙනවා
By the 14th of November, all of Gampaha will unite and the entire country will come together. What is this for? For a Shramadana campaign to rid this country of corrupt politics that have destroyed it, bankrupted it and filled the Avanna with NPP representatives. That is the battle everyone is prepared for.
ආදරණීය ජනතාව බෙල ගැසී සිටින්නේ ජාත්‍යන්තර සහයෝගය අපිට තියෙනවා ජාත්‍යන්තර මූල්‍ය අරමුදලත් එක්ක හරියට නිවැරදිව කළමනාකරණය කර
At this moment, we have the support of the international community. We are leading the government with the necessary management skills, working effectively with the International Monetary Fund. We are ensuring that all international standards are met and managing our relationships with global organizations in a way that benefits our country. With clear vision and confidence, by fulfilling these expectations, we can swiftly move towards our development goals. We need a strong and capable parliamentary power for that.
අනපනත් වේගයෙන් සම්මත කරගෙන වේගවත් සංවර්ධන ගමනක් ඉස්සරහට යන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ මම දවස් දෙක තුනකට කලින් කිව්වා මේ
A few days ago, I said we will win this election and we will win in a way others will cry. But I see people crying even before we win. Let them cry, but let their tears be for the crimes committed against this country, the crimes that brought us to the depths of poverty and caused immense suffering for the people. Remember, it is just the beginning. An unexpected political revolution began on the 21st of September. What has happened now? Today, they are in great pain, deeply angry, and they can't bear it anymore. Just look at the news. Many symbols, many faces, many colors, but the same old story. What is it all for? They can't accept this defeat. Sometimes I feel like they are hugging the pillow and crying at night without being able to believe what happened. They said they are retiring and will not contest again. But just a week or two before the election, they are back on stage, like those house frogs hopping around. Many who didn't vote on the 21st of September will be casting their votes on the 14th of November. Will they? Yes, they will. So remember, this country cannot be turned back unless the transformation that has begun is fully achieved. It cannot be reversed. People from every corner of this nation, north, south and east, are placing their hopes in us. Our responsibility is clear. We must not let those hopes and expectations be dashed. It is our duty to ensure that we succeed, to make this victory a reality. And we will make it happen. This time, the opposition's talk is meaningless. There is only one thing to focus on. We need to build a strong government. We need to form a government that stands firm in Parliament. What is the responsibility at the moment? Parliament must be filled with integrity and resolve. What needs to be done to guide this country in the right direction? That is our mission. None of us here are pursuing politics for personal gain or to benefit our businesses. We have one goal: to restore the nation. The National People's Power is dedicated to lifting the country from the depths of poverty, from the hopelessness the people are facing, from a state that has become notorious globally, a state unable to pay its debts, a bankrupt nation and to transform it into one of the most advanced, prosperous nations in the world.
The rally organised by the Samagi Janapala Vekya in the Ratnapura district was held today in Balangoda, led by party leader Sujeev Premadasa.
The leader of the Samagi Jana Sandhana, along with all the candidates contesting from the Ratnapura district, participated in the public rally held in Balangoda.
September 27 වෙනිදා ජනාධිපතිවරණයේ ජයග්‍රහණය කරලා.
It hasn't even been a week since the new government took office on the 27th of September, and yet didn't the Gazette notification for the liquidation of the three-Porsche factory and company already go out? If that's not the case, perhaps it's time to reverse it. They promised to lower the prices of goods, food and essential items, but what have we seen instead? Long lines just to buy a coconut. A government that can't even make rice affordable for the common people. He claimed that they will unload fuel at lower prices. They said they'd reduce fuel prices. There is no need for parliamentary approval, and today he's grovelling before the IMF. Now, instead of delivering on his promises, he's just another puppet, dancing to the IMF's tunes.
ඉදිරියේ දන ගැහුවා. අද ඔහු IMF එකේ හිරකරුවෙක් බවට පත් වෙලා. IMF එක කියන පදයට නටන රූකඩ ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් බවට පත් වෙලා.
මේ රටේ ආර්ථික දැක්මක් රට හදන ආර්ථික.
Only Sajid Premadasa and his team have actually presented a clear plan for rebuilding the economy and restoring life to this bankrupt nation. Meanwhile, Andrakumara has been busy challenging us without offering a single viable solution. So we challenge President Andrakumara Dissanayake. If you and your cabinet have a real economic strategy that can develop this country and make us stand strong as a nation, share it with us. We are waiting.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Namal Rajapaksa, is preparing to implement internal changes within the SLPP following the general election. He expressed these views during a media briefing.
We have clearly achieved our goals as a party during the presidential election. Looking at the trajectory of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the United National Party today, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is facing this election with considerable strength. Through this election, we are seeing significant internal transformations within the party as we evolve into a political force that resonates with the aspirations of the modern generation. Within the newly restructured Pohottuwa, there are 103 candidates under the age of 40. In total, 164 candidates under the age of 50 are contesting under the Pohottuwa banner. Among them, 24 female candidates are on the national list. This means that approximately 62% of our candidates belong to the youth demographic under the age of 50.
සමස්ත අපේක්ෂකයන්ගෙන් 62කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් අවුරුදු 50ට අඩු තරුණ කණ්ඩායමක් අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙනවා.
දැන් ඔය අලුත් කට්ටියට එන්න වෙලා තියෙන අර එක එක මූණු වලින් පෞද්ගලික කාලේ මිනිස්සු රවට්ටපු හින්දානේ. සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රය සම්බන්ධයෙන් යම් දේවල් වුණා. ඒ පොලිටිෂියන්ස් දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ අලුත් මූණු වලින් දේශපාලනයකට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඔබතුමා මොකද හිතන්නේ සම්බන්ධ?
ඉතින් ඔය කියන චෝදනා තියෙන බොහෝ අය පහුගිය ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී අපේ පක්ෂය.
Many of those accused in the issues you mentioned had already distanced themselves from our party during the last presidential election. In addition, several of them were involved in efforts to destabilize the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. I believe the current administration is well positioned to investigate these allegations. Specifically regarding the data deletion incident involving the National Medical Regulatory Authority, we initiated a clear investigation when the Ministry of Technology was in office. However, for some reason that investigation was not pursued further. The current government is now focusing special attention on police investigations, possibly even more so than on the country's economy. They have the capability and authority to conduct a thorough investigation into this matter, as it is something that must be addressed. We raised questions about the deleted data at the time, and this issue remains important. President Andrakumara Dissanayake has maintained a strong focus on technology and digitalization, which is why this matter remains a priority.
දත්යන් මකීම පිළිබඳවත් පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න. මොකද ඉදිරියේදීත් මේ විය හැකි විශේෂ මතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා අනුකුමාර දිසානායක මැතිතුමා මේ තාක්ෂණය සහ ඩිජිටලීකරණය පිළිබඳව විශේෂ අවධානයක් යොමු කරන නිසා.
දැන් මේ පොහොට්ටු මේ තත්ත්වයට වැටුනේ අර කඩාගෙන ගිය පිරිස හින්දාද
No, I think we need to look deeper and conduct a more comprehensive analysis. Party defections and splits are not new in politics. Clearly, there have been many internal changes within the party that were necessary. All of these changes will be implemented after this election.
The police and election officials uncovered and seized a stock of goods which is said to have been prepared for distribution to the public by a political party during a raid conducted at a hotel in Bellavatta earlier today.
The recovered items are believed to have been prepared to be distributed to voters during the silent period leading up to the parliamentary election. The logo of the United Democratic Voice party were noticed on the goods. In addition, images of the leader of the United Democratic Voice, Ranen Ramanayake, and another prominent businessman were also seen on the goods. Police said that a variety of items including dry rations, bottles, power banks, diaries and others were among the items.
T-shirts 989ක් පමණ ඒ වගේම දිනපොත් 1123ක්.
There were around 989 T-shirts, 1,123 diaries, 973 mugs, 74,282 leaflets, 1,224 caps, 86,500 cards, which are believed to be membership cards, 15,882 matchboxes with the party logo, 186 dry ration packs, 9 banners and 57 power banks. Those have been seized. The logo and name of a political party was printed on those items. Images of an individual who is aligned with the party were also pasted. We received information that the goods would be moved from that location to be distributed.
ඡායාරූපත් මුද්‍රණය කරලා තිබුණා. අභිධාරීම සඳහා මේ ස්ථානය ඉවත් කරනවා කියන තොරතුරු තමයි ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණේ.
මේ පුද්ගලයන්ව අත්අඩංගුවට ගැනීමේ සූදානමක් තියෙනවද?
දැනට ස්ථිරවම කියන්නට බෑ. නමුත්
we cannot say for sure, but the Bellavatta police are conducting further investigations. If suspects are revealed, they will be arrested based on the requirement.
අධිධාරීන් විසින් සිදු කරා.
The United Democratic Voice said today that it will take legal action regarding the smear campaigns organised against the active functioning of the party.
In no way will our party engage in any activity that violates election laws. The defamatory campaign against our party has not stopped, and we believe this is a part of that ongoing process. We do not need to distribute dry rations, nor do we need to violate election laws. However, as a party, we are financially strong and hope to provide what the citizens of this country need. Distributions can take place after the election. We have not engaged in any action that violates election laws.
අපි දැන් නීතිමය පියවර අරන් තියෙනවා ඒක සම්බන්ධයෙන්.
එතකොට කාට වුණත් ඔයගේ ඔබතුමාලාට මඩ ප්‍රහාරයක් කරනවා නම් ඔබතුමාලාගේ පක්ෂය ප්‍රොමෝට් කරන වැඩක් මේක ඇත්තටම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
මේමනේ ප්‍රොමෝට් කරනවා නම් ඒක දීලා තියෙන්නේ.
If this is really meant to promote us, then it should have been distributed, not withheld. It's not the people who received it, but the stock has been seized. There are 2 parties in Sri Lanka that are associated with rice mill owners, and we believe that the parties connected to rice mill owners are behind this. It would be a promotion for us only if it had been distributed to the public, not if it is caught by the Election Commission. This hasn't been given to the people. Instead, it was left to be confiscated. Therefore, we cannot take responsibility for that.
Speaking at a public meeting in Dematagoda, leader of the United Democratic Voice, Ranen Ramanayake commented on the allegations over the sources of funding for his party.
දැන් කියනවා අපි එක්ක ඉන්නේ එක එක ආයෝජකයෝ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සල්ලි කළු.
They are saying that the investors supporting us are bringing in black money. I asked the people of Dematagoda and Borella, have you ever seen something called black money? What color is the 5,000 rupee note? It's yellow. What color is the 1,000 rupee note? It's green. What color is the 100 rupee note? It's brown. What color is the 50 rupee note? It's blue. So, where is the black money? What exactly do they mean by black money? For the past 76 years, they've ruined our country, bankrupted us, turned us into paupers, and made our nation a failed state. Now, to rebuild our country, we need the support of investors and donors from every corner of the world, right? We owe $97 billion in debt. We need that help. What difference does it make where the money comes from? who funded Donald Trump in the United States. It was Elon Musk. Did the American people ask whether Musk's money was black, white, red, yellow or green? No, they didn't. They accepted the help.
At the end of the rally, Ranen Ramanayake also sang a song.
Former Minister Harin Fernando, along with his supporters, attempted to obstruct the police and election officers who were trying to prevent them from engaging in election campaign activities in Badulla in violation of election campaign regulations.
Former Minister Harin Fernando and his supporters participated in campaign activities in Badulla this morning in violation of election campaign regulations. Earlier today, Harin Fernando, wearing a Lionel Messi t-shirt, arrived in Badulla with a group of supporters to carry out election-related campaigning. At the time, police and election officials stressed that they could not allow campaigning activities that violated the law.
අපේක්ෂව 12ක් ඉන්නවා 12ට පහ ගන්න යනවා 60යි. ඒතර හරි. නීතිය කැඩවලානේ. අද මේ ටී-ෂර්ට් එක වල ෆුට්බෝල් කාරයෙක්ගේ මගේ නෙමෙයි. මෙසි කියන්නේ ෆුට්බෝල්.
The crowd, including Harin Fernando, dispersed from the location.
The CID conducted an inspection at former State Minister Sujeev Singha's residence today, pursuant to an order issued by the 4th Magistrates Court over an illegally assembled vehicle.
Our cameras captured former State Minister Sujeev Singha arriving at his residence in Colombo this afternoon. Subsequently, CID officials arrived at the residence along with the court order to inspect the premises. However, officials were unable to conduct the inspection till this evening since they were unable to enter the house. The police later confirmed that the CID had seized the luxury vehicle in question. Earlier today, 4th Magistrate Tanuja Lakmali ordered the CID to seize a luxury SUV owned by Sujeev Singha, which is said to have been illegally assembled. The order was handed down considering facts presented by investigating officers claiming there is a possibility of the vehicle in question disappearing or being damaged should it continue to be in the possession of Sujeev Singha. The Valana Special Anti-Corruption Unit had launched a probe based on information that an illegally assembled vehicle is parked at the Colombo residence of Sujeev Singha. Later, CID officials conducted further investigations into the matter and recently presented a report to courts as well. Officials from the Asian Network for Free Elections met with officials from the Election Commission today ahead of the 2024 general elections.
The Asian Network for Free Elections, or the ANFREL, which had deployed a team of international observers across Sri Lanka to monitor the parliamentary elections, met with officials from the Election Commission today.
We are focusing mainly on the critical processes of election. But what's important that happened there, we were able to discuss what can be the possible recommendations. Is it feasible? Is it grounded on local context? So that's what we are looking forward after the elections as well. Really talking to stakeholders, we are getting that kind of information. But even though if there are less violence, less vibrance on campaign environment, we still see the importance of election observation to boost the public confidence on the process and electoral results. Right now, it's a peaceful situation. That's what we are getting from different districts. But we are still looking forward to it. We're still examining it because we still have at least days before the election day.
With representatives from 16 countries, the team includes 13 long-term observers, 10 short-term observers and the mission management.
News First with the people.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Srinath Pereira, number 3 from National People's Party, Colombo District.
Mujibur Rahman, SJB, Colombo District, number 12.
A clean parliament powered by NPP, Jatika Janabalavegya.
Soundproof generators, long-term rent, Multiways Engineering Private Limited, number 54/1, Delgahavatta Road, Ratmalana.
Maligakanda Magistrate Lochani Abe Vikram has ordered that statements be recorded from 18 former cabinet ministers regarding the distribution of substandard medicines within Sri Lanka's hospital system. The order was issued today during a hearing of the case related to the distribution of substandard medicines.
News First. Main sponsor.
Generators for long-term rent, Multiways Engineering Private Limited.
Strength of the nation. Vote Rosie Sena Naika, number 14 from the gas cylinder.
I'm also with Marikar, SM Marikar, number 16, Samaki Janasandhanayaka, number district.
Pirisudu Mahatma Deshapalane Kolamba Sannamaya, Acharya Ram, Anka 7, Samaki Janabalavegya.
Soundproof generators, long-term rent, Multiways Engineering Private Limited, number 54/1, Delgahavatta Road, Ratmalana.
The US Department of Justice has revealed that an Iranian national charged by the FBI for plotting the assassination of President-elect Donald Trump was also tasked by the Iranian regime to target Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka.
In a statement, the Office of Public Affairs of the U.S. Department of Justice said, quoting Attorney General Merrick B. Garland, that the Justice Department has charged an asset of the Iranian regime who was tasked by the regime to direct a network of criminal associates to further Iran's assassination plots against its targets, including President-elect Donald Trump. On the 8th of November, Farhad Shakeri and 2 others were charged in a criminal complaint for their alleged involvement in the plot to assassinate a U.S. citizen of Iranian descent in New York. While the other 2 suspects have been arrested, Shakeri remains at large and is believed to be in Iran. The criminal complaint added that according to Shakeri, during a meeting with an IRGC official on or about the 7th of October 2024, he was instructed to provide a plan to kill Trump within 7 days. If Shakeri failed to meet the deadline, the IRGC official indicated the plan would be delayed until after the U.S. presidential election, with the expectation that Trump would lose, making the assassination easier to carry out. Shakeri told the FBI that he did not intend to propose a plan within the set time frame. In recorded interviews with law enforcement agents, Shakeri said that the IRGC also tasked him with carrying out additional assassinations targeting U.S. and Israeli citizens in the United States. He said he was tasked with surveilling 2 Jewish American citizens residing in New York City and offered $500,000 by an IRGC agency official for the murder of either victim. The US Department of Justice further highlighted that he was also tasked with targeting Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka. According to documents filed in a federal court, Shakeri was asked by IRGC to target Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka and to plan a mass shooting event in October 2024. The plot against Israeli nationals in Sri Lanka led to security alerts from multiple countries, including the US, which issued a travel advisory for Arugambe on the 23rd of October 2024. Intelligence reports indicated a potential threat to popular tourist areas frequented by Israelis, prompting increased security measures and travel restrictions. The Israeli National Security Council also advised Israeli citizens to avoid certain coastal regions of Sri Lanka.
Who is Farhad Shakeri?
Farhad Shakeri, an asset of the IRGC based in Tehran, immigrated to the US as a child. He was deported in 2008 after serving 14 years for a robbery conviction. In recent months, Shakeri has been involved in leveraging a network of criminal associates he met in US prisons to assist the IRGC. The US Department of Justice also said that he has reportedly been supplying the IRGC with operatives for conducting surveillance and assassinations targeting individuals of interest. Though he was deported in 2008, his parole monitoring continued until 2015. And in 2019, he was detained in Sri Lanka in connection with the seizure of a large quantity of heroin, highlighting an ongoing series of alleged criminal activities linked to his network. Shakeri faces multiple charges, including conspiring to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization, which could result in up to 20 years in prison. He is also charged with providing material support to the same organization, as well as conspiring to violate sanctions against the Iranian government under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, each of which carries a potential 20-year prison sentence.
Has Iran responded?
The spokesperson for the Iranian Foreign Ministry has categorically dismissed allegations that Iran was involved in attempts to assassinate former and current US officials and described the claims as completely baseless and rejected. The spokesperson highlighted that similar accusations have been made in the past, while the Islamic Republic of Iran has firmly denied and proven false. He emphasized that repeating such claims at this juncture is a malicious conspiracy orchestrated by Zionist and anti-Iranian circles aimed at further complicating the issues between the US and Iran. He also underscored that the Islamic Republic of Iran, as has previously stated, remains committed to utilizing all legitimate and legal means at both domestic and international levels to restore the rights of the Iranian nation.
Russia and Ukraine have launched their largest drone attacks since the war began, with both sides claiming major strikes.
Russia and Ukraine have carried out their largest drone attacks against each other since the start of the war. Russia's defense ministry said it intercepted 84 Ukrainian drones over 6 regions, including some approaching Moscow, which forced flights to be diverted from 3 of the capital's major airports. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia launched 145 drones towards every part of the country on Saturday night, with most shot down. The barrages come amid expectations that US President-elect Donald Trump may put pressure on both sides to end the conflict. Ukraine's attempted strike on Moscow was also its biggest attack on the capital since the war began and was described as massive by the region's governor. Officials said that most of the drones were downed in the Romanskoye, Kolomna and Domodedovo districts. In Romanskoye, southwest of Moscow, 5 people were injured and 4 houses caught fire due to the falling debris. The Russian Ministry of Defense said that 34 drones had been shot down over the town. There has been intense speculations about how Trump will approach the conflict since his election win in the US. The president-elect regularly said in his election campaign that he would end the war in a day, but has not offered details on how he would do that. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov spoke via state media on Sunday of positive signals from the incoming US administration. He claimed that Trump spoke during his election campaign about wanting peace and not desired to inflict defeat on Russia.
Japanese lawmakers voted today for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba to stay on as leader after his scandal-tarnished coalition lost its parliamentary majority in a lower house election last month.
Shigeru Ishiba, who called the snap poll after taking office on the 1st of October, must now run a fragile minority government as protectionist Donald Trump returns to office in main ally, the United States. Tensions rises with rivals China and North Korea, and domestic pressure mounts to rein in the cost of living. His Liberal Democratic Party and coalition partner Komeito won the biggest block of seats in the election, but lost the majority held since 2012, leaving him beholden to small opposition parties to pass his policy agenda. Japan will hold the elections next year for the less powerful upper house, where the ruling coalition's slim majority could also be at risk if Ishiba cannot revive public trust in his administration, which has been roiled by a scandal over unrecorded donations to lawmakers. Some Japanese officials fear that Trump might again hit Tokyo with protectionist trade measures and revive demands for it to pay more toward the cost of stationing US forces in the country.
The SLAF women's weightlifting team emerged as champions at the Intermediate Weightlifting Championship 2024.
The Intermediate Weightlifting Championship 2024, organised by the Sri Lanka Weightlifting Federation, was held at the National Sports Complex in Torrington from the 8th to the 10th of November 2024. Demonstrating exceptional skills and strength, the Sri Lanka Air Force women's weightlifting team emerged as the champions, while the Sri Lanka Air Force men's weightlifting team achieved the runner-up position. Aircraftman Sandeepa GAC and aircraft woman Chaturani MHD were recognised as the best lifter in the men's and women's categories, respectively. The event was attended by the chairman of SLAF Weightlifting, Air Commodore Dinesh Jaivira, and secretary of SLAF Weightlifting, Wing Commander Sanjeev Nanayakara. The competition attracted numerous weightlifting clubs from across the island, including the Tri-Forces teams, all competing for the championship titles.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.